Welcome back to How to Cake It. I'm Yolanda. This week, I'm gonna cake a leg. Get it? Furious Pete is in the house. He's gonna try and eat my entire leg cake. Head over to his channel, Furious Pete, and check out me helping him make some gory, disgusting brain cupcakes. And if you've come here from Pete's channel, please subscribe and leave a comment below. Let me know what you want to see me make. Okay, let's do this. Let's cake a leg. This gory, torn up human leg cake took 16 pounds of my ultimate vanilla batter. I removed my cakes from their pans, leveled them, cut the caramelization off the bottom and the sides. To see which pans I used and how I divided my batter, head to howtocakeit.com. I'll put a link below. I cut each one of my cakes in half so I end up with 6 slabs of cake. I'm gonna take one layer of cake and stack another layer on top, and then I'm gonna do the same thing again. So now I've got 4 layers of cake. Butted up. They were technically legged up against each other. Now I'm gonna start to carve out the 2-dimensional shape of the leg. So kind of like the front, the knee, and the shin, and then behind the knee. I pulled up a picture of Furious Pete. He's got some big legs. So now I need to build up this leg and make it more 3-dimensional. So I play with the pieces of cake to figure out where they're gonna go, and I also use one of my remaining slabs of cake for the top layer. Now that I have an idea of how I want to build this leg, I pull my cakes apart, simple syrup them all, and begin to fill them with buttercream. Now don't forget, you can find my simple syrup bottle and his amazing mummy sleeve costume at howtocakeit.com. Now make sure to check out my Halloween playlist. I've made other gory cakes in the past, like a human brain and a human heart.
Are they all from the same person, you think?
It's taking them a while to find him. I mean, they were all found like months apart. Now I want to chill my cake for 15 minutes before carving. What can I say about carving a leg out of cake? It ain't easy, because the whole time I'm doing it, I'm thinking, how am I gonna carve this into a leg? Now, even though this is an oversized leg, proportion is still important. So the leg has to sort of taper down into the ankle and get slimmer. The knee has some like knobbly bits. And I kept looking down at my leg. There's a lot of footage of me looking down at my leg, which is much smaller than the leg I made. And I used a combination of my regular serrated knife and my small serrated knife. The cool thing about our new How to Cake It website is that when you go to the blog dedicated to this video or any one of my videos, you could just click on tools and there'll be a whole list of every tool I used to make this cake. I'm happy with the leg, it's looking good, but I still have 1 slab of cake left. Feet, anyone? I take my final slab of cake and again, I carve out like a 2-dimensional shape of a foot. I took my shoe off and looked down at my own foot. We did not put that in the footage.
Ooh, footage!
Oh, I didn't even know I was punning. Orhan, cut to the footage. I simple syruped my cakes. Much like building up the leg, I used cake scraps to build up my foot as well into a 3-dimensional foot. Once I'm happy with the shape of my foot, I attach it to the leg, and now I'm going to make some red buttercream to crumb coat this entire leg. From this point on, I was grossed out. This is the same red food coloring I used to make brain cupcakes on Pete's channel. You can get the recipe for those cupcakes and the skull molds we used at howtocakeit.com. It's time to crumb coat and chill. In honor of today's cake, I naturally did part of the Thriller dance. 'Cause this is crumb coat! Chill!
Yeah.
My crumb coat is chilled. It's time to ice this cake one more time in red buttercream and chill it again. Once the buttercream is chilled, I'm gonna smooth out any ridges. I just take a small spatula, a little more buttercream, and what's nice about working with cold buttercream is it kind of like smooths out. It's just the right temperature. Oh, you know what's next? My favorite thing in the world. Flesh-colored fondant.
Yay!
This cake is gonna need 4 pounds of flesh-colored fondant. I roll out a piece that's long enough and wide enough to go around the leg portion of this cake. Then I pick it up and drape it over the leg, smoothing it onto the leg with my fingertips, making sure to tuck the fondant as well as I can underneath the leg. And then I begin to trim away the excess with a sharp paring knife. At the top of the leg where it was torn from its body, I tear the fondant. I roll out my fondant, cover my entire foot, even the part where the toes are gonna go later, and then I just trim the fondant away from the bottom as well as where it meets the fondant that is on the leg. Now that my leg is completely covered, I want to accentuate sort of the muscular features of the leg. So I just use my fingertips and the sides of my hands to really define, the calf muscle and the shin and some of the veins that lead down into your foot, whatever they're called, and that bone, that big bone that sticks out at your ankle, the ankle bone thing. The ankle bone! I'm going to place my leg cake in the fridge to chill because it's time to make some toes. I added some CMC to my remaining flesh tone fondant because I want the toes to be hardy. Stiff, he's stiff. You know what this leg needs? Some hardy toes. Now I form and sculpt 5 toes. I just kind of rolled some tubes and rounded them out at the top and then sort of, pinched them in. To form the nail beds, I used some sculpting tools and I also used my thumb to press down into the fondant. To make his toenails, I rolled out some white gum paste nice and thin with a small fondant rolling pin, and I used a circle cutter to cut out the general shape. Then I trimmed the circle with a sharp knife just to form a toenail. I mean, he didn't have a nice pedicure. I add my toenails one at a time, making each nail for each designated toe. They're not the same, they're all totally different.
Totally!
Oh my God, I did it again! To secure my toes to my foot, I'm going to use some lollipop sticks. And some of the nails I kind of ripped and tore and cut jagged on purpose. I mean, I feel like he was probably trying to kick the person who was attacking him.
Well, he clearly didn't win, so.
No, but you should have seen the other guy. I'll cake his next week. I need to address the obvious toe to foot connection. I roll some of my flesh colored fondant into a tube and lay it over. And then I use a damp paintbrush to sort of brush the fondant and sculpt it and just hide that seam. Because in reality, your toes are part of your foot. They're not being held on with lollipop sticks. Just have a look, I'm right. Look down at your feet. Now I get to poke and gash this leg. I don't know why I enjoyed it so much. Adding a gash to the foot was perfect because there was a seam sort of along the front of the foot. So I just worked with that. I wanted the top of my leg to really look like it had been torn off of a human body. Using more of my flesh colored fondant, I used my small fondant rolling pin to roll it out, and then I just sort of tore strips of fondant. I just ripped it apart. And then I placed all of those strips with the rough side out, just sort of placing it in that, I'm pointing, there's nothing here. We are barely making it through this.
Barely.
For the knee, I did use the scalpel and I kind of slashed it a bit and then opened up the wound. Jocelyn, you okay?
Yeah.
As rough as this guy's day was, I still think he needs a tan. He's really pale. I know he's dead, but it's even too pale for dead. Once again, I'm gonna use ivory food coloring. This is one of my favorite food colorings. I just diluted it with a bit of alcohol and brushed it all over the leg. You know how muscly guys usually are tan, right? You guys have seen Furious Pete. He's muscly, he's usually a bit tanned. I couldn't make this pale leg. To paint the toenails, I used a little bit of buttercup yellow and a bit of alcohol and painted it on the toenails and then sort of wiped some off with a paper towel. Sorry about that part, Pete. I know you have much nicer nails. I know you guys are thinking this is almost over. She's almost done. She didn't use a ruler. I used a ruler to make maggots. Yes!
How?
Let me tell you how. I rolled my fondant into a tube, and then I used a ruler to measure and cut that tube perfectly. This way I know all of my maggots are kind of the same size.
Because that is so important.
Well, that's essential. Oh, I was going to use the word discombobulated. Because when I don't use a ruler, I feel discombobulated. So I had to find a way to use it. To create the lines that are in maggots, I used my strip cutter and I just rolled the tube over my strip cutter. I called the company that makes the strip cutter. They're going to change the name to Maggot Shaper. They feel it will sell better. To the clear piping gel, I added some buttercup yellow, a little bit of brown, and a little bit of alcohol. Mixed it all together, and then I threw all my maggots in a bowl and tossed them in my food coloring. They looked like they were moving when I was stirring it.
Jeez.
Yeah, and then I pulled them out with a fork and separated them so they would dry a little bit. You think the word maggots is gross, Jocelyn? Try Googling maggots. I didn't get past like 5 pictures. Disgusting.
Have we done blood? No, you're going to do that now. Okay.
We gotta leave that in. Have we done blood? Oh, we're gonna do blood. Blood time! It's blood time! To make all the blood I'm gonna use on this leg, I used some seedless raspberry jam and some different red food colorings to just intensify the red of the jam. Next time you spread your raspberry jam on your peanut butter, think of me. I used a combination of brushes and a parchment piping bag filled with my bloody jam to fill all my gashes and cuts and hide any seams that I didn't want. I mean, if somebody tore off your leg, there would be a lot of blood. I really think he needed one more gash. I slashed that shin open, I peeled back the skin. It was disgusting. It was wonderfully disgusting. It was exactly what I was going for. It's maggot time, everybody! I know that's why you're at How to Cake It. These maggots are hungry and they're about to get fed. I added a cluster of maggots to each one of the wounds and gashes. They infest, that's what they do. Maggots of the same size infest together. It's time for me to finally answer the burning question. Who eats all of the cakes I make on How to Cake It? Pete! I'm ready for you! It's a big one this week.
You weren't kidding! You outdid yourself this time.
Thank
That is
you.
awesome.
Please subscribe to How to Cake It. Don't forget to check out my Halloween playlist. There's other gory cakes where this one came from. Plus, at howtocakeit.com, we have exclusive fall and Halloween recipes from me and Nick from the Scran line. So this is Pete, better known as Furious Pete. Please check out his channel. He's a fitness guy, a speed eater. He has 14 Guinness World Records. And today he's gonna go for Guinness World Record for eating whole cake leg. What's the craziest thing or biggest thing or like largest amount of food you've eaten?
You know, eating tons of bugs, spiders, beating cobra hearts, things like that, you know.
How are they still beating?
Cobra heart actually afterwards beats for like half an hour. You should probably cut that. Try one.
No.
Try one.
No.
I won't eat this until you try one. Oh, it's so gross!
Ew, I got 3! Eat them. No!
It's so gross!
They're sweet.
There you go.
You came here to do what you always do
Yeah,
for me every day. So,
I'll do a little stretch, you know.
dig in.
Are we ready to go, guys?
I can't, yeah.
Are you ready? Are you ready? Are you guys ready? 3, 2, 1.
I don't know what to say. I don't know what to
Are
do.
you okay?
I should have brought a napkin.
I think you're tearing.
I am. Okay, I'll just hold the mic. Oh, okay, I'll save it for later when I'm hungry again. that ever happens.
The nail sound. Sounds like a nail. Oh, that is so good. It's so realistic. Look at that. That is so good. Good job.
I think that toe might be infected. Head over to Pete's channel. We are making brain cupcakes together.
You'll love these. We're actually adding a little twist to them, and we'll show you guys how you guys can prank your friends with them too.
Thanks for coming again, Pete.
Yeah,
I'll see you next Tuesday.
Yep, I'll see you next week. Thank
You
you very much. That's so nice of you. All right, we'll catch you later.
Okay, bye.
Bye, guys.
Thanks again.
Yep.
Pete, bye.
I don't even know what to say. What do I say?